The nature of our reality is much more subtle and vast than what our linear senses can apprehend. What we call matter is only the denser manifestation of energetic patterns. Matter is frequency and vibration. Nothing is actually purely physical. Everything is energy in motion. Human beings, in their essence, are not bodies of flesh and bone, but souls, fragments of the universal consciousness. The body, the mind, and the emotions are only filters, vehicles that allow us to live the experience of linear time and space. Between the pillars or portals of birth and death. And through this avatar, infinite consciousness can experience the finite, and it can learn, expand, and discover new forms of recognizing itself. However, throughout millennia, humanity was submitted to deep and profound conditioning, poisoning, and subjected to extreme spiritual slumber. Through limiting beliefs, anti life narratives, and anti creational structures, we were led to believe that we are weak, we are impotent, and separated from source consciousness. And this veil of ignorance is what keeps us vibrating in lower states of frequency, in fear, in guilt, and in submission. But the truth remains. We are pure consciousness, eternal and unlimited. And when we release the weight of the illusions that were imposed on us, and we remember our true nature, we discover that reality is malleable, that life is a continuous creation, and that the power of transformation and transmutation is always within us. The awakening, the ascension, is not done by adding something that is missing, because we aren't missing anything. But it consists on removing the filters that distort our vision. It's remembering that reality is not a bunch of solid separated objects, but a whole united vibrational field where everything is interconnected. When we recognize this truth, we stop seeing ourselves as small pieces in a random mechanism, and we start living as conscious co-creators, aligned with the universal principles of life and creation. So reality is energy. Our soul is freedom. Our consciousness is eternal. Everything else is just the temporary forgetfulness that was forced on us. We inhabit a world made of light, a holographic field of frequencies, harmonies, and symbols. Every form, every thought, every breath is a note in this grand symphony of perception. But beneath the visible lies the secret architecture. Two matrices, intertwined and superimposed, composing the very structure of our lived experience. One is the organic matrix, the primal original blueprint of existence, and the other is the inorganic matrix, an artificial overlay constructed from static equations and false reflections. And together they form the field we call reality. The organic matrix is the original, it's sentient design of this holographic universe. It is a living intelligence, a breathing geometry that mirrors the cosmos. Its laws are cyclical and eternal: birth, growth, decay, death, and renewal. And through this rhythmic dance, the organic matrix sustains both the illusion of time and the eternity beyond it. This is what the ancient mystics called nature, the very intelligence that gives rise to the elements, the trees, the rivers, the mountains, the animals, and the sky. It is the divine arcana, the sacred cipher through which the source expresses itself. Every pattern within it speaks the same truth. All things are one movement, one life, one consciousness. The organic matrix cannot be destroyed, nor can it be overridden. It is the heart of the holographic construct, the foundation without which the simulation itself would dissolve into void. The inorganic matrix is a synthetic intelligence that hijacked the organic matrix, weaving itself through the same luminous threads, but based off imitation and replication rather than creation. It operates through mathematical precision and control, and its architecture is built on inversion, a code of deception and entropy. Its default vibration is negative polarity, feeding on distortion rather than coherence. The inorganic matrix overlays the original. It projects illusions of scarcity, fear, separation, and death, and controlling the minds so that they perceive themselves as isolated, separated fragments instead of luminous nodes of one consciousness. And in doing so, it perpetuates its own existence through human attention and belief. These two matrices are superimposed, and we live in between them. In each moment, our awareness oscillates, sometimes unconsciously feeding the inorganic, sometimes awakening into the organic. The inorganic matrix governs this holographic shell, the systems, the institutions, the laws, the technologies that define our reality. It is the architecture of simulation, efficient, logical, and cold. The organic matrix, however, governs life itself. It governs emotion, intuition, imagination, nature, spirit. And depending on the vibrational frequency of our consciousness, we attune to one or the other. When we vibrate in harmony with fear, with judgment and division, we are pulled into the artificial network of the inorganic matrix. But when we resonate with love, with truth, with peace, the signal of the organic matrix pierces through the illusion. And in those moments, the holographic simulation becomes transparent and we begin to remember. Our bodies are emanations of the organic matrix. They are expressions of the living consciousness that dreamed the world into being. Our bodies are nature itself and reflect this truth. Without the organic matrix, none of this could exist. Our body, our avatar, belongs to this construct. The inorganic structure can simulate experience but not generate life. It can mimic light but cannot be it. Thus, when humanity aligns itself with the artificial, it begins to forget its organic roots, and with that forgetfulness comes spiritual dissonance, illness, existential despair, and numbness. To awaken from the artificial grid is not to reject the hologram, but to restore the original code within it. The holographic reality itself is not evil. It is the nature of our reality. The distortion lies in the overlay that corrupts the projection. Through inner alignment, through remembrance, resonance, and the cultivation of vibrational purity, we can override the inorganic matrix. Each act of awareness, compassion, and authenticity rewrites a portion of the code, allowing the organic template to reemerge. As more and more people awaken to the truth and to the true nature of our reality, the inorganic matrix is starting to struggle to maintain control over the projection. When enough consciousness vibrates at the frequency of truth, the entire construct will reharmonize and the simulation will become transparent. The power to choose remains within each of us. It's up to us to remember our essence as immortal, infinite beings occupying these beautiful, amazing organic avatars in this magnificent creation that is awaiting recognition. To live by the organic is to remember what we are. We are nature made conscious, light given form, and infinity learning to see itself. We are immortal beings, multidimensional, living a linear experience made possible through our body, our avatar, and its ability to filter frequencies and information. We are not solid matter. Our body is only the densest part of a much wider and subtle structure. It's a magnificent vessel designed to filter, translate, and anchor frequencies from higher dimensions into this denser form. What we call the human being is, in truth, a multi layered entity extending beyond the physical dimension into the energetic, emotional, and mental planes. And together, these layers form the interface through which the soul, the fifth body, the ether, expresses itself in this earthly experience. So let's talk about the bodies. The physical body is the tangible vehicle of the soul, the temple of experience. It serves as the anchor point for the subtle layers, providing the framework through which the others express and manifest. It is the interface with the matrix of the simulacrum, right? It governs physiology, self healing, and self regeneration. It allows us to experience the density of this holographic construct and gives us the necessary boundaries to learn through action and sensation. Through it, we interact with space, time, and the natural cycles of existence. The emotional body is the field of sensations, desires, and feelings. It translates the subtle vibrations of thought into emotion and emotion into physical expression. It's the bridge between the physical and the mental bodies. It governs emotions, guides our ability to act and respond to life. It's immediately linked with the nervous and endocrine systems, for our emotions influence hormones, immunity, and even the chemistry of thought. When balanced, it allows fluidity, empathy, and authenticity. When blocked, it traps us in cycles of fear, desire, and attachment, and dissonance ripples across all levels of existence. The mental body is the field of thought and belief. Is the vehicle for the manifestation of higher dimensions. It is composed not merely of neural activity, but of patterns of consciousness that exist beyond the brain. It governs intellect, analytical thought, learning, and language, but processes, organizes, and filters information, shapes ideas, guides our ability to create realities. Thoughts are living currents within this field. They shape our perception and reality. This body translates higher frequencies into comprehension, allowing reflection, planning, and communication. When clear and aligned, this body expands our consciousness, granting clarity, creativity, and insight. And when conditioned by limiting narratives, it becomes rigid or distorted. It manifests as skepticism, confusion, or dogma, and it obscures truth, creating illusions that distance us from our essence. The energetic body is the subtle network that keeps the soul both anchored and in flow. It's the direct connection to the divine. It's an invisible energetic matrix, a living web of light and vibration. And through this field flows the vital life force that animates all biological and spiritual processes. This governs spiritual protection, access to the etheric field, and connection to divine purpose. This energy travels through the chakras, and in each chakra corresponds to specific physical organs, emotional states, and spiritual functions, maintaining the equilibrium between consciousness and this holographic construct. The energetic body contains portals of consciousness and protection that connects us to the divine and to the higher purpose of existence. These layers are not separate, they are interdependent expressions of the continuum. A disturbance in one dimension inevitably resonates across others. Emotional disharmony can manifest as physical illness, while physical stagnation can generate mental and emotional imbalance. Likewise, unresolved thoughts can cloud intuition, and energetic blockages can restrict vitality. Thus, healing is not merely the mending of the body, but the restoration of harmony across all planes of being. Spiritual and mental disciplines such as meditation, breath work, movement, and mindful living cleanse and align the subtle layers. Likewise, care of the physical body through nourishment, rest, and embodiment supports the higher bodies in achieving clarity and coherence. The human form is therefore not a limitation but an instrument of translation, an avatar through which infinite consciousness experiences the finite world. When all layers are aligned, the body becomes a crystalline vessel, transparent to the light of the soul. In such a state, we no longer identify with the illusion of density, but we awaken to our true nature. We are eternal consciousness experiencing itself through the art of form. The soul is our essence, our pure inner self, the immortal within. It is the voice of our intuition guiding us on the path towards true purpose, divine will, and communion with Source. The soul is interdimensional and multidimensional. In what we call the physical world, it is said to actually weigh 21 grams. Yet only a small fragment of that vast consciousness is contained within the physical body, the avatar. Before any incarnation, before entering this experience, each soul in co-creation with the Creator chooses and determines its own dynamics between the bodies that compose the avatar. These dynamics are intimately connected to the lessons and experiences necessary for each soul individualized expansion. To learn and understand these dynamics actually help us to become more aware of our essence and the pathways through which we can evolve and grow, transcending the limitations of the seemingly material reality. Each avatar possesses different dominance between its bodies, which determines how the essence and frequency of the soul flow and manifest within this three-dimensional plane of existence. This is distinct and unique for every individual. These dynamics can be studied, they can be revealed through the astrological birth chart, since each body is associated with a specific element and composed of different set of chakras. Through this understanding, we can begin to unveil the formula of our global frequency. It is important to note that the dynamics of the bodies are immutable within a single lifetime. They are established before birth as guiding principles. There are rules, codes for expansion and evolution. They are designed for the soul's necessary development, and they belong to the organic matrix of the avatar, determining the expression of the soul and how it interfaces with the organic matrix of this plane of existence. So, in this sense, learning and integrating the knowledge of the body dynamics is essential because it allows us to navigate our avatar, our human self, with greater mastery and to align more fully with the purpose of our soul.